Can you all see my screen? If I'm correct?
Yes, you can.
Okay. Let me see if I can share my.
It just went black, I think.
Yeah, there is some technical issues. Let me stop sharing and restart sharing, if that will work. The connection is really bad. Can you confirm, Linda or Camille, if you are seeing anything?
Just the black screen.
I see just black screen at the moment. So let's try once again, maybe.
Yeah. Otherwise, I'll leave the meeting and re-logged in. Maybe it will help. Let's see if it's working. Still nothing yet, right?
Yes.
Okay, give me a few seconds, then I'll try to re-log on. Hold on.
Sure.
Sorry. Can you see my screen?
Yeah, it's working now.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's working now.
Good. Then I will open up the presentation. I had to close everything in order to restart it. Let's see. Yeah, I think you can also see the screen, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
Good.
It's,
Okay.
I think it's okay now.
Super. Thank you, Camille. Okay.
Thank you, Doreen. No problem. Let's start.
Let's start. Again, sorry for the delay. My name is Doreen Obeng, Customer Success Specialist with Wolters Kluwer, responsible for the UpToDate product that I'm going to demonstrate in the next coming minutes. Please let me know or interrupt me when there is a question, or send an email through Linda, or use the chat to ask your question, and Linda can then inform me and I can try to answer the question as good as possible. So the agenda for today will be telling you what UpToDate is, what benefits it brings to your clinical workflow, but also how to access and where to find the training and other resources that we have available on our website. If we have enough time and there is interest, I would also like to demonstrate the UpToDate Advanced, which is an add-on that we have within our total package that can also help and accumulate in giving the proper care to the patient at the point of care. So what is UpToDate? And UpToDate is defined as an electronic evidence-based physician-authored clinical decision support resource which clinicians can use at the point of care. So it's how to interpret this is written by clinicians for clinicians to use at the point of care. So it's written in a reasonable content. It's easy to pull the information out regarding the question that will be asked, and also the evidence behind the answer and how applicable is the answer will be answered within UpToDate. It has also been shown in many clinical studies that improve clinical knowledge and increases patients' care. And I have added this slide just to give you a brief overview of what UpToDate is in general, but also the magnitude of UpToDate. So in UpToDate, we have over 12,000 topics that are available, covering over 25 specialties. All these topics are written by clinical experts, and we have over 7,000 clinical contributors that write in UpToDate. These are not freelance writers, but they are still clinically active. They are affiliated with high institutional organization, also published in different medical clinical journals, speaks at conferences. So these are still clinically active people and also have the interest and passion for what they are doing. For almost every topic that we have in UpToDate, there is a graded recommendation. And these are all actionable recommendations based on the evidence that is being found during the process of writing the content and publishing it in UpToDate. We have over 44,000 institutional sites that UpToDate are being used, and almost every country in the world has access to UpToDate. So just to give you an idea how big the platform is and how well used this UpToDate product is, I think these slides give a very good demonstration of what it is. Over the previous years, there have been some focus points from within UpToDate, what we want to achieve, how we want to portray ourselves in the medical field, whereby gen test interpretation is still a topic that we still write about, but also the renal dosing. Let's say you prescribe a medication, you like to know whether it has impact on the renal function. But also COVID has taught us a lot of things over the last 24 months. And to give you an example, when this COVID pandemic started, we didn't have any content regarding this COVID. And since 2020, in March, we wrote the first article was published in UpToDate. And up till now, there has been an update over 1,200 regarding the COVID information. So that gives you how up-to-date the information is, how the editorial team is on the case and making sure that the information is based on evidence, but it's also in the right time that we are in. In last year, there was also the focus to harmonize the content for physician, pharmacists and also for the patients, knowing that it's not just physician that prescribe a medication, the pharmacist needs to prepare it, but also the patient wants information regarding the disease or the discomfort that patient is in. And to be able to engage with the patients, you need to educate the patient about the condition the patient is. So there is a lot of information also in here that we focus on to keep it interactive with every group. Regarding innovation, it's now possible to search in many more languages. We have over 16 languages that you can change the interface in and search for the right content that you may be searching for. And with the mobile app, you are able to use your voice to search within UpToDate. So moving forward, the focus will be on pharmacogenomics, but also personalized medicine, as we know that we need to harmonize everything. But it's not just one clinical case. Sometimes a patient has multiple disorders that you want to monitor it under the same umbrella. So the focus will be on that. And the editorial teams will also harmonize and work close together with each other to make sure that the content is up to date, the content is based on evidence, and the content is real life or real time applicable. I always use this slide just to give you an idea how rigorous the process is behind the content in UpToDate. So when there is a need for a topic, the clinical studies are being pulled out from the various journals that we use to find the reference for the content. And then this content will be assigned to an author. The author will write the first base lines, and then the peer review process will start. These are all specialties within the specialty. So let's say for this demo, I'll be using diabetes as an example, because it's a very general case and everyone can relate to it. And it's also a most common disease that every country and every region faces. The content will then be written, and then the peer review, so the endocrinologist will peer review this content. After this is done, it will be moved over to the grading working group, who will see and check the evidence behind it, whether it's a qualitative evidence and how applicable is that evidence. If all this process is being done, then the content will be posted on UpToDate, and every month the literature behind the content will be updated and checked. And if there are changes in the references, then the content will be changed, and there will be a notification that the content is being updated in UpToDate. And I'll show that later on during this session. So that's how rigorous the process is behind UpToDate. Moving forward, as long as you're connected with the internet, you have access to UpToDate. We also have the mobile app for the iOS and Android devices. We encourage everyone to register in UpToDate, because by registering, you are able to personalize your homepage with a certain features. I'll show that later on. But the most important thing is also the continuing medical education credits that you can accumulate by using UpToDate. And I'll be showing that to you as well. So when logging on the first time, this is the main screen that you see, and you see the register button. By clicking on it, it will open the next page, as you can see here. By filling out this form, you can create your username and password and use it for your mobile app. And by doing that, you can do it the next time, and then it will give you the instruction to download your mobile app and start using it from there as well. And I have added this. That's how it looks like when you are in the mobile app store to download the mobile app. Every 90 days, you need to re-verify your email address so that we know that you are the right users for the username that you have created. On the day 80, it will give you a notification that within 10 days, your email address needs to be re-verified. And this is how it looks like. So I thought it was useful to share this information with you. Now let's go on to UpToDate itself, and I can show you the features that we have within UpToDate. And let's see if I can move this a bit, because I'll not be, okay, I cannot see it. Okay, so this is the main screen that you see when you are logged on as a registered user in UpToDate, whereby on the top you see your continuing medical education credits. Next to it, you see your name with your account details under it. The first thing you do when you come to this screen is to change the language interface, and you can do that by clicking on your name, and then it will, let's see, and you can scroll down to the language, as you can see here, and there is a possibility to select from 16 languages. To be able to change the language interface to your native language, the content remains in English. Why is that? Because sometimes it's difficult to find the right name for the condition you are looking for in English. And to be able to do that in your own language, we have known that whether the content is in English, you are able to read through it. And the content within UpToDate is written in a very easy to read way that, and most of the medical abbreviations are commonly and worldwide used. So it's, well, out of experience, it's known that it's easier to read the content in English. Next to that, if we want to change all the content in the many languages that are available, it will take a lot of the time in updating the content. So there needs to be a decision made in this part. So you select the language you want to have the interface in, and then you can submit it and then search from within the native language. For this demo purpose, I will leave it in English and demonstrate it further in English. Underneath the name, we have the blue menu bar, whereby we have from right to left, we have the UpToDate pathways, the drug interaction, the calculators, but under next to it, we have the content. Within the content, there is what's new. These are all new updates over the last 6 months in UpToDate. And then we have practice changing updates. These are all changes over the last previous 12 months, and these are significant changes. For example, there have been studies shown that using tablet during pneumonia treatment are beneficial or as useful as using medication through IV. This has impact on the way you are treating the patient and how to follow up on the patient. So the content and the grading needs to be changed in this. That's when we'll put it in the practice changing updates. Underneath the practice changing update, we have lab interpretation, which belongs to the UpToDate advanced, and then keep jumping back and forth. Are you still able to see my screen? Can someone confirm?
Yes, it's flipping a bit, but yes, we can see.
Yeah, it's okay, it's okay.
Okay, good. We have information regarding drugs, patient education material, and you are able to search by specialty. For example, when you are conducting a research, then searching by specialty will be very beneficial. And the last feature under the content is all the editors and authors group in their right specialties. In the main screen, you see the main search bar. And due to the COVID pandemic, we have added the COVID information button to it, whereby we have the COVID homepage and the most frequently asked questions and their answers are placed here so that you can have a quick access to this information while doing a comparison. As a registered users, you get these 3 widgets, whereby we have the history button, who will store all the history over the last 3 months. The 10 most viewed topic will be placed under the most viewed topic. And the bookmarks are very useful tool because you can bookmark certain topics when there is an update within UpToDate. you get this notification so that you can easily read this and move on with wherever you are doing. And if you miss the notification, you can always view this by scrolling down, and next to the topic, there will be an orange dot next to it. That's how you can see that the content is being updated. Now, I want to use a clinical case just to demonstrate and go through all the features so that you can see how easy it is to find answers to the clinical questions, but also get the right actionable recommendation and move on. And I thought of using diabetes because this is a very relatable disorder. Anyone or everyone has it, or maybe knows a family member, or within the practice have seen have come across this disorder. I'll start off by typing in the diabetes, and as you can see, the system has an AI behind it that does a predictive results presentation, and you can search by symptoms, diseases, laboratory results, or the question as a whole within the main search bar. There's also a possibility to use the most frequently used medical abbreviation to search for certain terms. So I'll go on by diabetes. And I want to find something about diabetes type 2 treatments. I'll click on it. And as you can see, it will present a few results. As you can see here, initial management of hyperglycemia in adults with type 2 diabetes, etc., etc. Next to it, there are also pathways available regarding the type 2 diabetes that we are looking into. Before I dive in more, I want to show you a few things that you can modify within this page of the results. You can collapse the results and find just the titles of the topics that are available. Standing on the title, you can use these 3 dots and arrows next to each other, and you can see the topic outline, whereby all the paragraphs that are being explained, you can have like a preview beforehand. I will just expand it because I like it this way. The next thing is we have all the results summarized, as you can see here, but you can also further narrow down the search by selecting the results on adults, on pediatric patients, only information for the patient, or just graphic related to the diabetes type 2 mellitus treatment that we are looking into. For this demo, I will leave it to the adults, and I will just select the upper one to demonstrate further. So when clicking on it, it will open, as you can see here, and on the right side, you can see the full content and the title of the topic that we are looking into. And it is quite a large content, as you can see. Moving to the left, you can see the topic outline, whereby we have the summary and recommendation button and other features within this outline. As a clinician, you don't always have the time to read through the full content that is listed here on the right side. That's why we have conveniently placed a summary and recommendation button to quickly jump to the right section so that you can quickly get the information and continue with the patient. And I will demonstrate it by clicking on summary and recommendation. And as you can see, it has already jumped to the right section here in the summary and recommendation. And you can see that it's written in a bullet point form. And the reason behind it is that you want to easily jump to the right section. So the first bullet point will always be a general introduction regarding the condition we are looking into. The second bullet point, as you can see, is just the targeting group and the laboratory tests that are needed to be able to do a diagnosis. And most of the time, the third bullet point will be the answer to your clinical question, whereby in this case, there are many pharmacologic options to treat diabetes. There is also a table included, as you can see, between the brackets. And in the absence of specific contraindication, we suggest metformin as initial therapy in most patients. And there is a grading behind it, as you can see, whereby it says grade 2B. So this is how you can ask a question and find an answer to your clinical question with the evidence behind it. Now I'll stop marking it because I want to show a few things. You can see that the metformin is hyperlinked as they are suggesting. The grading is also hyperlinked, but also the table is hyperlinked. Everything that is hyperlinked, you can click on it and magnify it and read through it. So what does this grading mean? As I've mentioned earlier on in the introduction, this grading are the evidence behind the topic that you are viewing or the recommendation that is being done. And mostly it's a very actionable recommendation, but it also gives the transparency in where the information is being pulled from. And by clicking on the grading, for instance, let me just give you an overview. A grading is always a combination of a number and a letter, whereby we have a 1 and a 2. 1 is a strong recommendation, you can apply it to every patient, and 2 is a weak recommendation, whereby there are some specific details missing during the process of creating the content. The letters are A, B, and C, whereby A is a very qualitative evidence, and C is a low quality evidence. And you can find this information here on the bottom. So a 2B recommendation, as you can see here, sorry for the flipping of the screen, means grade 2B recommendation is a weak recommendation. Alternative approaches may be better for some patients under the same circumstance. So yeah, it explains it all. I don't need to add anything to it, but the explanation is even detailed, whereby a grade 2 recommendation is explained, but also the grade B is explained as well. Any questions so far?
We have one question from the chat about the content. How often the new content is added to the database?
It depends on the need of adding new content, and all the over 12,000 content that are already in UpToDate, the references behind it are being updated every month. So if there are new evidence or if there is a need to change the content, that it will be changed or modified. I hope this answered the question.
Thank you.
Most welcome. Going back to the recommendation, as we can see, there is also a medication recommended, which is the metformin. Before prescribing this medication, you may need to read through it, or maybe you need the information regarding the dosing or administration, wherever that may be. This information is available as well. You can do that by clicking on the hyperlink, as I'm demonstrating here. Clicking on the metformin, and it will open the drug monograph from the other tool that we have, Lexicon, and it will give you the detail that you need to be able to prescribe, but even go deeper and do like a drug interaction with the drugs that the patient may already be using. And these are all very valuable information, because when you prescribe a medication to a patient, you want to make sure that the patient take it the right way, you want to prescribe the right dosage, and you want to be able to monitor this medication with the other possible drugs that the patient might be using. So this is the monograph of the metformin, as you can see here. Is pulled from Lexicon, and it also has a topic outline, as you can see here on the left side. The basic information are being added. It always presents the alerts that needs to be taken into precaution before prescribing this medication. Most of the time you want to check the dosing, and the dosing is split into adult dosing and pediatric dosing, and then even elderly people dosing. And for all this group, the kidney and the hepatic impairments are included as well. And you can use the topic outline to jump to the right section. So if I want to view the the dosing for adults, I can just click on the dosing from within the outline, and then I can find the right information by using the drop-down arrow, and it to give you whether to take it oral or if it needs to be given through an IV, and what to take into precaution. The dosing are included as well, and even goes diaper, how to prevent, how to treat, and how to follow up on the medication. The kidney and hepatic information are included. I'll just use the topic outline to show you a few things, because there is so many things behind it that if I want to explain it, we'll be sitting here for hours. So I'll just highlight the most important things so that you can navigate when you have time to read this information at your own time. Next to the dosing, how to administrate the drug, but also the label. These are the FDA approval information, the off-label information, the medical safety issues, adverse reaction are included, but also the medical safety issues. I think I mentioned that. Contraindications are prescribed, warning and precaution regarding the medication, but the follow-up behind it, drug interaction, food interaction, pregnancy and breastfeeding consideration are well described within this content. And this make UpToDate very unique, as you can see. It's not just giving a general prescription or a general information regarding the drug and the dosage, but it goes deeper than that, and even splitting it into adult, pediatric, and elderly, and even diving deeper with pregnancy and breastfeeding. As we know, through the placenta, the kid can maybe get an overdose, etc., etc. So this information are all available. Now we know about this medication, and we know that the patient is also using other medication, and want to get a total and good overview on how this medication react and interact with the existing medication list of this patient that we are looking into. We can do this in two ways: by using the drug interaction button from within the outline, or later on using it through the blue menu toolbar, as I've shown you earlier on. For this demo, I'll just use it through the outline by clicking on drug interaction, and then we can launch the program for the interaction, whereby it will open this way and it will say Lexicon Drug Interaction Program. There is a possibility to add a drug, a herb, or food to do a total analyze on the patient. I've already added metformin. We know that the patient is using warfarin, but also uses paracetamol, uses garlic supplement to reduce cholesterol, grapefruits every morning, ibuprofen, and alcohol during the meal. So this gives us, I think, a realistic overview of how a normal diabetes patient, which medication that patient may be using. After adding all this, and you have the choice to add up to 50 combination, 50 combination, and then you say analyze. When you click on analyze, it will give you the results based on the input that you have put in the system. And in this case, it has given us 13 results. And you can see immediately that there are colors and letters explaining why, whereby we can use the chart here and using the drop-down arrow here and read more about the color combination that is available. X meaning avoid combination, red is a very alarming color, so there is no way you can miss this. D in orange means consider therapy modification, C meaning monitor the therapy, etc., etc. And these are all based on the evidence that is being found regarding the monographs and the content that is being put in UpToDate. So the results will be presented in the severity. So the most severe one will be presented on the top and the less severe one will be presented below. By clicking on the combination, why, for example, metformin and alcohol needs to be avoided, we can click on the combination and it will open and give us explanation why we need to avoid this combination. As you can see, I have clicked on it. It has given us the combination, why, what to do. We need to avoid the combination, but also a short summary and how big is the possibility that this combination will give side effects? Well, it's rated as fair and very major. How to manage the patient is included, and the discussion around it as regarding the studies that are being used to explain the combination. And underneath, under the footnotes, you see all the references with the link to Pubmed to read if you have time, or let's say you are doing a research regarding a group of diabetes patients. This is one way to view the interaction, but for example, if you just want to see what interactions are available for the medication metformin, you can go to the list and click on just metformin, and it will give you all results that are available. As you can see, it gives us 69 results and the interaction with all the known drugs that are available. So that is how easy it is to get this information, but also educate. And maybe if you are going to refer the patient to another specialist, give this information as well so that you all be aligned to prevent medical variability and treatment variability in following up on the patients. There is a possibility to use the print button to print out the information as I'm showing you. Any questions so far?
We have another question from the chat about the dosing information for drugs. Could it be different from country to country, the recommended dosing?
It can be, but then these are all based on general practice. So this is based on the general practice, and actually is for every country the same, because it has to be the same. That's why there is a split between adult, pediatric, and elderly people in UpToDate, for you to at least find the right category that the patient might fall in. I hope this answers the question.
Thank you.
Most welcome. Going back to the topic, I have demonstrated how to find the answer to the clinical question, what the recommendation is, what the grading behind it is, and how to even do a drug interaction. The other way to do the drug interaction, for example, is to use the drug interaction from within the blue menu toolbar, as you can see here. So coming back to the main content, how is this content put together? If you remember in my introduction, I show you the slide whereby when there is a need for a topic, how the process is being followed and how rigorous that process is. Underneath the title of every topic, all the contributors are included, as you can see here. By clicking on one of the name, it will go to the contributors list, whereby you can see who the author is, what the title of that person is, which institution they are affiliated with, and if they are head of a certain department will be shown. The peer review list is hide, but you have access to this as well. And you can find them under peer reviewers. By clicking on peer reviewers, it will give you the full list of all contributors within the specialty. As you can see here, it's quite a long list, but at least you have access to this information and you can check this information. Let me go back one step. Underneath the contributors, there are two very important dates, as you can see here, one on the left side and one on the right side. What these dates means are the left date is the date that all the literature and references that is being used to put the topic together are updated. So we have a checklist for a certain topic, maybe there are 40 references. All these 40 references are being checked behind the screen, whether they are still evidence-based, if the evidence has changed, what the quality is. If all of those things are unchanged or correct, then the dates here will be changed. Let's say they have 5 new studies that have been studied over a longer period of time with a much larger group, and the evidence and the results are better, then the content or that specific part within UpToDate will be changed, and that's when this date will be changed. And most of the time you see that the literature review updates are a month prior, because it's being done every month and as much as possible. And this date will be mostly a few months, sometimes maybe years back, because there was no need to change the content. And it also adds to the question asked earlier on regarding the references that is being used in UpToDate. Scrolling down in between the content, sometimes you see figures, sometimes you see numbers, as you can see here. Within the bracket, we have 1, and we have 2, 3, 4, and 5. Sometimes there are calculators. These are all references. I can just go ahead and click on the numbers, and it will bring me to the Medline abstract, whereby we have all the references stored. I'll click on it, and as you can see, this is reference number 2. It's in our Medline abstract, and this page is very important for people that are doing research, for example, just to get the right information, whether it's relevant to read the whole references or not, whereby to give you a full, a short summary of the background, the method that is being used, the results, and the conclusion regarding the reference number 2, as I've clicked on. Another thing you can view from within the Medline abstract is there is a direct link to Pubmed, and this Pubmed link brings you directly to the abstract environment of Pubmed, whereby you can view a summary within the Pubmed environment. Let's say you don't have this journal, then you can use the Pubmed ID, as you can see here on the bottom, to purchase the article or the reference. And I'll just use the Pubmed link and go into Pubmed and just show it from there. Let's hope it will open. Yeah, as you can see, this is reference number 2. It has all the abstract details that you need. And next to it, we can view the full text link. This reference was published in the NEJM, and we have access to view the full text link. And I'll go ahead and click on it, and you can view this in details in the journal that the article was placed in. Everyone gets this? I think so. Let me go back to the Medline abstract. So this is the idea and the reference behind every content. You can also view the references by using the outline and going down. And here, by clicking on references, you have a full list of all references that is being used regarding the diabetes type 2 treatment topic that we are viewing. Another thing I would like to show you, which is beneficial in using UpToDate, is information for the patient. So if you're already in the topic, you can also view the available information that you can use in sharing with the patient. And it's called information for the patient. And we can view this from here, but we can use the blue outline to view this as well. I'll click on it. We have 2 levels of patient education for the patient. whereby we have the basic topic and the beyond basic topic. And the basic topic is written in a questionnaire answer way, whereby the 5 most frequently asked questions will be answered. And the beyond basic is a more advanced. So this will be typically something you share with a patient that is already familiar with the disorder, that needs more information regarding the condition, medication, etc. In this case, there are basic topic, beyond basic. There are 2 topics that we can use, and I'll just go ahead and click on one, and so that you can have an overview how this looks like. So this patient education information regards type 2 diabetes, between the brackets, you can see that it's a basic information, and these are the 5 most commonly asked questions. So what is type 2 diabetes? What are the symptoms, etc. It's a very easy to read and written form to engage with the patient, because you don't want the patient to go on another platform and maybe end up with the wrong information and ending up in distress. So this is a very good way in engaging with the patient and educating them as well. And sometimes there are also videos included explaining the disorder or discomfort the patient is in. I'll go back. Let's see if it will go back. Yeah. So compared to the basic information, we have the beyond basic, and that is more of an up-to-date content-like layout, whereby we also see the contributors, as you can see here, is beyond basic. The expert contributors are added, but also the literature used in conducting this topic are also available for the reader to read as well. And yeah, it's a more high level information providing to the patient. Oh, sorry, I just wanted to show one thing from the outline. From within the outline, you also have the possibility to view all related graphics regarding the topic. And let's see if I can find this. It's not doing exactly what I want it to do. As you can see here, we have over 38,000 images available that help explain the question or the condition we are looking into in UpToDate. And this can be anatomical images, it can be instruction tables, it can be CT scans, just to explain it more for the person that is using the content. In this case, we have graphics, and it also has subcategorized for every topic. In this case, there are algorithms included, figures and tables, and I'll just view all of them so that you have an overview how this looks like. Let's say we want to view this specific one, whereby we'll click on it and it will open the image. We can use the arrow button to navigate through all the available graphics that are available. And for every graphic, you can bookmark them, you can give feedback on them, you can even share them digitally or print them out. The cool thing with this graphic system within UpToDate is that you are able to export it to PowerPoint presentation. Let's say you are going to do a multidisciplinary consultation, or you have an education presentation, you can export this to a PowerPoint presentation. And I don't need to demonstrate it because it's quite easy. Clicking on export, it to open it in PowerPoint, and then you can copy paste it from there. The only requirement here is that when you are using it within your institution, it's no problem. But if you're going to publish it in another page or in a public page, then you need to use the feed button to request for permission to use it. We want to monitor where these images are being used at. because we also take this information for educational books or website that needs to know where the images are going. Is this clear for everyone? I think so. Okay, now I have this thing in my screen and I want to go here. So this is how you can find a topic within UpToDate. There are a few features in this content that are also useful. Let's say you are in a content and you have a comment or you have a question regarding a certain part. You can use this blue topic feedback button. By clicking on it, you can ask your question or add your comments. And when you click on it, it will show your name and all the necessary information that is needed. And then in the message box, you can add your question or comment, and it will be, by submitting it, the editorial team will pick it up and try to give you feedback within 48 hours. So we encourage you to do this as well. There are a few features on this field as well that are quite useful. For example, the find button. By using the find button, you can search for a specific word within the topic. In this case, let's say treatment, and I'll say find, and it will select all the words related to treatment, and you can directly jump to that section. Next to it, I have my name here. Let's see. Yeah, I can move this. With this button, you can bookmark it. You can magnify the reading level, but also use these connected three dots to share the information digitally with your colleagues or with the patient or whoever you want to share this information with. And with the print button, you can print the information out. This circle with the check mark in it, you can reflect on the continuing medical education credits regarding the topic that you are looking into. Let's see if I can move this a bit down. No, it's not possible. Okay. I'll go back to the main search screen to show you a few things as well. And you can do that by clicking on the logo of the UpToDate, and it will always bring you back to the home page, as you can see. I have shown you the drug interaction. We have over 150 medical calculators available in UpToDate for you to use. And we have conveniently placed this because we don't want the user to be going back and forth and searching for the information, but even how to interpret some calculation. And the calculators, when click on it, you can view them by specialty or list them alphabetically, or just type in a certain part of the calculator you are looking into. For example, I will say score, and it will give me all related calculators with the name score in it. I can also use medical abbreviation. Let's say I want to check the body mass index of a patient. I can type in BMI, and it will give me a list of all the body mass in the index that are available and in their right specialty. I'll just use the general one in this case, and it will bring me to this page whereby we have the title, the body mass index, and it's based on input that will generate the output for you. And you can change the units in according to the region you are active in. And let me just say the height is okay. As you can see, by typing in or adding in the requested field, the system has already calculated it for us, but it even goes deeper. It has also categorized it for us. So we don't need to think whether BMI of 27, whether the patient is overweight or underweight or whatever that may be. And even if the patient is obese, you have the different classification in it as well. When you scroll down, you can find the additional note, the equation formula that is used, and the reference that is used to generate this calculator. Is this clear for everyone? Okay, now we'll move on. Going to the content, as I've mentioned, what's new are new changing updates in UpToDate over the last 6 months, and they are categorized by their specialty. And when you click on what's new, you can see the specialties that are available. And let me say, for example, emergency medicine. By clicking on it, I can view within the emergency medicine the subcategories that are in it. So adult resuscitation or general adult emergency medicine, etc., etc. And within the first category, there are a few updates available, as you can see here. So the title, but the subcategory that are updated. In this case, no benefits for prophylactic anesthesia medicine in adults after, etc., etc. And it's written in a very short paragraph form so that you can read this information quickly and move on with whatever you are doing. Also, the original topic is added, as you can see here. Let me just stop marking it. You can see under C, intensive care unit management, the original topic. I'll go back. And within content, we have practice changing updates, and these are significant changes, as I've mentioned or given you the example of the pneumonia patients, whereby studies have shown that using tablets in high dosage of amoxicillin, for example, has the same effect, whereby you don't need to keep the patient longer in the hospital, but you still need to monitor them in their house, etc., etc. So this has a very significant way of practicing. So, and these are all chronologically ordered. So the recent information will be listed on top, and the older one will be on the bottom. Whereby infectious disease, there has been an update. And you can view, it always give a short introduction. And this is also written in a short paragraph form, as you can see, to quickly find the information and go back and treat the patient. And in October, there was an update. And in February this year, this update has been modified again, whereby they are talking about the third dose for individuals that are 12 years or older. And in this one, there's the grading added to it, but also the references that are being used, as you can see here, in between the lines, and the link to the original topic. And by clicking on the topic, it will open it, and it will give you immediately a notification, whereby the part that is being changed will be listed so that you don't have to miss this information. And you can read this information and then click it away and go back to the topic as presented this way. There is another way to view this information is you see from within the outline, you see the orange dots next to the new paragraph that is being added. So there was what's new, and then there was a practice changing updates. And from within the content, you can view this as well, whereby the orange line is next to the part that has had an update. So it's a very easy way and a very quick and visualized way without spamming you with notification and viewing the right information. Going back to the content, the drug information is also a very useful feature within UpToDate. And the most important part, and I encourage you to use this frequently, just to get the information regarding what's happening in drug therapy at the moment. That's what's new in drug therapy. So if there are medication that the dosing has changed, or there are off-label use, new information, or new FDA information available, you can read them in what's new. but you can also find the general drug information in here as well. And the patient's education regarding a drug, and you should think of this like, do I need to take a certain medication before, during, or after a meal? And why is that? What is the idea behind it, the evidence behind it, and the general use behind it? Going back to content, from within the content, you can also view the patient's education information by clicking on patient information, whereby it's sorted by the specialty, and by clicking on the general practice or the specialty, it will give you information regarding basic and beyond basic information. And the thing I mentioned earlier on, when doing like a research, searching by specialty can be very beneficial because it has grouped all the specialties at once, and you can click on it and select the specialty you would like to view more about. And in this case, within hematology, there are sub specialties as well, whereby you can have the right information and dive quickly to the right section that you like to view. And also all the contributors are listed here by specialty. Sorry for the back and forth flipping of my screen again, apologies. By clicking on it, it will give you per specialty who the authors or contributors are within UpToDate, as you can see here. Now, I have shown you the general UpToDate. What time is it, Linda? Do I have enough time to explain the UpToDate advance?
It's 4:20. I think if everyone wants to listen, then we can continue.
Okay.
But before that, we have another question about, do you have in the database information about radiology as well?
No, not much, but within the content, there are sections regarding radiologists that radiologists can use. So you can use the topics by specialty, and then let's say you neurology, sometimes you need radiology information regarding this, then it will be a sub group within that specialty.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully I have answered the question.
Yeah.
Okay, good. As I've mentioned earlier on, if there is a topic and there is a pathway available, and the pathways, because we don't have for every topic a pathway because it's not needed, the pathways was created for the most frequently, commonly diseases, whereby when there is less response on a certain medication, there will be a lot of variation in how to follow up on that. So they have selected a few, and we have over 120 pathways, whereby you can at least narrow down the variation, how to prescribe and follow up on the patient. So in this case, I'll just go back to the diabetes type 2, as I've started earlier on. And regarding this topic, there is a pathway available, and not one, but multiple ones. And I would like to use this, to use this one to demonstrate the pathway, because we know sometimes patients don't respond well on metformin, and you like to find alternatives so that you'll be able to keep the blood sugar levels under normal levels. And this is how the pathway looks like. You can search them directly from within the pathway from the blue menu toolbar, but you can also, when conducting a search in the main search screen, select a pathway and start using the pathway. So the pathway is a very dynamic way of viewing or narrowing down your search and finding alternatives to be able to treat the patient. And we have the flow chart here on the left side, and on the right side, we have the written form of the condition we are looking into. And it's based on the input that will generate the output that you will be needed. And normally when we start, it will give you a scope of the pathway with some information that are needed. And due to the time that we have, I'm not going to read it through, but also the related topics that are available within the pathway. The first thing you do is you like to know whether there are required tests and if you have already done this test, and if not, you can do this before starting the pathway. Click on the requested test and you get the tests that are needed before using the pathway. And then you want to take into account what to exclude. By clicking on excluding, it will give you all the exclusions that are available, and checking this before starting the pathway. So we have checked these two. These are the most important one. There's also a disclaimer, but you don't need to do anything with that. And then you can start the pathway. As you can see here, I have checked everything on the left side, so it has already jumped to the next level. Thus, the patient has either glycemia or symptoms of wherever, I will say yes. And then it will give us alternatives. So stop the sulfadine and start basal insulin or glucagon-like peptide. And we can select from basal insulin or GLP receptor agonist. And we will say we want to stop and start with basal insulin. I'm just trying to demonstrate this to you so you can have an overview how this works. As you can see, the pathway has stopped here, but we are still looking into it. It's not done yet because we have to select the type of basal insulin that we would like to prescribe for the patient. So we say stop it, and then we can select from a few most commonly used basal insulin that are available. And I will say Degludec, and you can see the dosing and how long the patients need to take it. And by selecting that, it will jump to the next level, give us the information. But as you maybe notice, also the Degludec was hyperlinked, and the hyperlink can bring you to the monograph of the medication. And then are there contraindication to metformin? We'll say yes. And then it will continue. And afterwards, we need to select a management approach and how to follow up on the patient. And we'll say recheck after 3 months. Now we have come to the end of the pathway, and we can review this assessment by clicking on review assessment, whereby there will be a short summary of the pathway based on the input that we have putting in. So we wanted to stop with the sulfonamide and start with basal insulin, and we selected Degludec, and the right dosage, also the follow-up on it is being added. A short summary with the questions that were asked and how we answered them, and we can say copy this, and then we can paste this in the patient's file if necessary. Okay, now I'll go back. It's a bit stuck at the moment. Yeah. So that is up to date. From within the content, we can do the lab interpretation. And the lab interpretation as the most commonly abnormal lab results, how to interpret these results. If there are other alternative tests that we can use in differentiating the diagnosis, this will be available as well in the lab interpretation. You can find this under the content and scrolling down to lab interpretation, and you have a full list of all the lab interpretations that are available, and they are categorized by the way of the lab test is done. And in this case, I would just say 1AC, as it was suggested in the diabetes scope when we were doing the required test. We'd like to know how to interpret what is the normal value of this lab test. And you can see that is under endocrinology lab monographs, and it's hyperlinked. So by clicking on it, it will bring us to the lab monograph, whereby it will give us the title, but also all the necessary information that are needed. From within the outline, we can directly go to the algorithms that are available, but we can also see the value. And so 5.7 to 6.7, what does that mean? And click on it and it will give you the right information, but also the evidence behind it are added as well. The tables that are needed to further interpret these lab results are added to it as well. Within the lab monograph, there are also graphics available, and these are most of the time algorithms or tables that helps even define the lab test even better. I'll just select this one and just to give you an overview. So is there a reason for a test? Is it a screening for diabetes type 2, or is it a known case? And if it's a screening for diabetes, these are the levels or the ranges that are available or that it falls in, and how to interpret this and what are the alternatives regarding this. The same way for the known diabetes. And yeah, as you can see, it's easy, it's quick, and it's very informative and at the right point of care to use. The last thing I want to show you are the continuing medical education credits, and I hope I can view this somewhere here if this is not interfering. Yeah. As you can see here on the top right, you see the CME credits, and by clicking on it, you can view how many points you have accumulated, and you can redeem this credit for accreditation purposes or based on whatever the requirements are within your region. The first thing you do is change the settings in the right category by clicking on setting here underneath and then using the pencil to edit it. And normally AMR PRA category 1 credit is the credit type that you need. The credits that are accumulated in UpToDate are 2 years valid. And yeah, every time you search for a certain topic, there is a sort of time tracking method behind it, and you get 0.5 credit for every topic that is being viewed in UpToDate. Now, how to redeem a credit? You can redeem a credit by count, by month range, by bulk, 10, 25, or 50%. And how it normally goes is you select the topic and then scroll down and say continue. And there are always 2 questions you need to answer. This is the main search goal and how applicable was the information. This is a very crucial information for UpToDate to be able to keep the content updated, but also useful for you, the user. So I'll select, well, I have this, here is the title. I search for treatment purposes, and it reinforced my plan. And as you can see, it has changed to green, and then you can continue and fill in the rest. The rest is not compulsory, but we appreciate it if you do that. How does a certificate looks like? Let me just show it to you. I have a few selected. Oh, why is this? Okay, I'll say view. So if you have filled out the survey within UpToDate, this is how the certificate looks like as a registered user. You have your name, UpToDate, the date, you touch the topic, the amount of credits you are trying to redeem, and the signature of our CEO with the additional information that is required to the organization that you'll be sending it to. I hope I have managed to demonstrate what UpToDate is. If there are any questions that I can answer, please ask them, and I'll be more than happy to answer these questions for you. Thank you. I'll stop sharing my screen so that you can all see me.
Thank you for your presentation. I don't see any questions from the chat. But we will be sure to send you any questions if we have them later.
Please.
Yeah. Again, thank you. With all the technical difficulties today, it was
no problem. Once in a while we have these issues, and well, at least we managed to go through them. So, and I hope this was very clear and informative. And yeah, I wish you all lots of luck in using UpToDate, and please do reach out with any questions.
Thank you very much, Doreen, from my side, and thank you, Linda, for providing this call training today, and wish you good luck and nice afternoon, and be in touch.
We'll keep in touch. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Bye-bye.